I just got the greatest news of all time. I just got the greatest news of all time from Roberta. Roberta has not been wrong yet, by the way. Like, I will. If this comes true, Roberta, I promise you. If this comes true, I will put you in the category when it comes to breaking news of Annie and Alexa. I will put you in this category because fuck me. Like, this is huge. And not only that, she's going to be so much cheaper. She is going to be so much cheaper than Natasha.
The phone call that changed everything came at 2:30 a.m., and the shock waves are still vibrating through the WNBA. Stephanie White just pulled the trigger on a move that nobody saw coming, and it has league-altering written all over it. This wasn't just another roster filling, it was a calculated strike designed to unleash Caitlin Clark like never before. The silence from the rest of the league is deafening, as they realize, the Indiana Fever just became the fastest, most dangerous team in basketball. This isn't a rebuild anymore. It's a hostile takeover, and it all started with one name that is now trending globally for all the right reasons.
Huge, and not only that, she's going to be so much cheaper. She is going to be so much cheaper than Natasha Howard. Oh, this is such a good one. And she's a willing shooter. She plays fucking hard. She has no ego. Oh man, this is such a good pickup. And I was about to make a video being like, oh shit, she's going to New York. Like, this is a huge one. This was about 20 minutes ago. Like, I was scared, man. I was so scared.
MO, everyone was looking for a superstar max contract signing, but Stephanie White played the ultimate chess move by targeting Monique Billings. While other teams are fighting over massive salaries, the Fever just secured a relentless engine that fits perfectly into the Clark era. Billings isn't just a player, she's a statement of intent for how this team plans to run their opponents into the ground. She is cheaper, faster, and hungrier than the veterans most people expected Indiana to chase. By passing on the ego-heavy stars, White has cleared the runway for her generational point guard. The logic is simple: why buy a luxury car when you need a rocket ship to keep up with Caitlin?
Scared. I was so scared. Mo freaking Billings. Mo Billings! That is such a big one. I literally made a video. I had it recorded. I missed out on this news, by the way, because I was currently recording a video talking about how, like, the Indiana Fever can't sign Natasha Howard. And I literally say in the video, I say the minimum, it's like, I don't mind if they don't get Azare. It's not, if they don't get Azare, it's not the end.
The chemistry between Caitlin Clark and Mo Billings isn't just theoretical, we have seen the flashes of it before on the international stage. When they shared the floor for Team USA, the pace was blistering, and the transition game looked like something out of a video game. Billings knows exactly where to be when Clark launches those trademark full-court outlet passes that leave defenders gasping for air. This isn't about stats, it is about a synergy that most teams take years to build. Stephanie White saw that spark and decided to turn it into a wildfire. It is a move that prioritizes fit over fame, and that is exactly why the rest of the league is suddenly very, very nervous.
And you know what that means with Mo Billings? Like, people also don't understand this. When Mo Billings is, with Mo Billings, is that she will end up being a no ego player, and it means is cheaper, and it means you can possibly keep Sophie and Lexi. Like, Mo Billings works her ass off. And by the way, there are videos of me on this channel saying when the Fever should have sabotaged Mo Billings a year ago. The Fever should have sabotaged because with the Valks, she was taking the expansion drop.
Financial flexibility is the hidden weapon in this shocking free agency pivot. By choosing Billings over a massive contract like Natasha Howard's, Stephanie White has kept the Fever's championship window wide open. This move saves hundreds of thousands of dollars that can now be used to lock down the core pieces around Caitlin Clark. We are talking about the ability to keep fan favorites like Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham without breaking the bank. It is a masterclass in salary cap management that ensures the Fever aren't just a one-hit wonder. They are building a sustainable powerhouse, and every dollar saved on Billings is a dollar invested in the long-term protection of their superstar.
I want to see what the reactions are. I don't know exactly if I'll be able to see them. Great pickup, backup center. My guess is starting power forward. That is my guess, is starting power forward. I don't see the Indiana Fever having too much money. I wouldn't, like, if it turns out that all of a sudden Mo Billings is your, okay, if we're missing, she might start power forward but also rotate in as a backup center, a little bit like last year. I actually kind of liked when they ran Howard backup center last year. Like, I don't hate Howard as a center, I just hate.
Let's talk about the actual basketball, because that is where things get truly terrifying for the opposition. Mo Billings brings a level of verticality and speed that the Fever frontcourt desperately needed last season. She is a willing shooter who does not demand the ball, which is the ultimate green light for Caitlin Clark to dictate the flow. Unlike previous years, where the post players clog the lane, Billings clears the path or finishes the break with elite efficiency. She shot over 80% at the rim in specific transition sets, and that is exactly where Clark excels at finding her teammates. It is a match made in basketball heaven, and Stephanie White is the architect behind it all.
Like, gives you hope in life. Like, just focus the ball. Just focus on ball. But this one's mad. Because Mo Billings she runs the floor. She can play with Aaliyah, by the way. She will shoot the ball. Like, I'm not saying Mo Billings is a good shooter. I'm saying she will shoot. I think Mo Billings is a much better offensive, worse defensive Temi. Like, she shot 30% from three last year on many attempts. On nearly 2 attempts a game. I'm cool. I'm fine with her shooting 30%. It's better than 20% Natasha Howard shot.
But the Billings signing was just the tip of the iceberg in this viral frenzy. Reports are swirling that Amber Cox was spotted with Tyasha Harris, signaling that the Fever aren't anywhere near finished. If Stephanie White manages to pair Harris with Billings, the Indiana backcourt becomes a nightmare of speed and perimeter pressure. This isn't just about finding players who can play, it is about finding players who can survive the relentless pace of a Caitlin Clark offense. Harris brings that veteran poise and defensive grit that allows Clark to focus entirely on her playmaking. The vision is becoming crystal clear, and it is a terrifying prospect for the rest of the WNBA.
It's like, with Natasha Harris, like, the Fever need one of two things at the power forward position. They need, and by the way, if you guys are new to the channel, I'm currently up at 2:30 in the morning, and I plan on being live for the next 5 hours. Please subscribe. Yeah, this would be greatly appreciated. But like, at that power forward position, the Fever needed one of two things. They either needed a shooter that can play defense, or a runner that can play defense. And Mo Billings isn't a bad defender, and she plays her ass off. She plays her ass off. Because we're signing Atlanta, I think Atlanta's going back to Minnesota. Mo Billings shot 82% from 0 to 3 feet, or 19% for field goals. Yeah, Caitlin Clark's got to find her there. We saw her.
Stephanie White did not take this job to play it safe, and this viral free agency move proves she is willing to take massive risks for the right rewards. She understands that the old way of playing in Indiana is dead and buried. To maximize a talent like Clark, you need runners, not just ball stoppers. By bringing in Billings, White is effectively ending the era of slow, half-court grinds that plagued the team in the past. This is high-octane, 7 seconds or less basketball coming to the WNBA. The fans are losing their minds, because they finally see a cohesive plan that matches the excitement Clark brings to the arena every single night.
Free agency targets. Maureen, no. Kennedy Burke. No one said anything about Kennedy Burke yet. If the Indiana Fever somehow pull off Kennedy Burke, and Kennedy Burke starts at the 4, and that is your good defender and shooter, not a rim runner, but that's a good defender and shooter. Like, Temi, I'm okay with Temi or Billings. I don't really want both of them, but I'd be okay with either. I'm okay with Temi. If you give us a power forward center rotation of Aaliyah, Temi, and Billings, holy shit! Especially the shape Aaliyah's in, we're just running. We're just fucking running. Oh my god.
Social media exploded the moment the news leaked, and the Roberta report started gaining massive traction. When insiders who are never wrong start dropping bombshells like this, you know something historic is happening behind closed doors. The fans are already dreaming of the pick-and-roll combinations between Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and now Mo Billings. It is a three-headed monster that covers every inch of the floor. Billings provides the defensive versatility to switch on to guards, a skill that was sorely lacking last season. This isn't just a bench signing, it is a move that reshapes the entire starting lineup and defensive identity of the Indiana Fever. One of the biggest criticisms of the Fever last year was their inability to rotate effectively on the perimeter. Billings changes that narrative instantly with her lateral quickness and high motor. She plays every possession like it is her last, a trait that Stephanie White values above almost everything else. Imagine a defense where everyone is flying to the ball, creating turnovers that lead directly into Caitlin Clark's hands. That transition offense starts with stops, and Billings is a one-woman wrecking crew when it comes to blowing up opponent sets. She isn't just a rim runner, she is a defensive catalyst who sets the tone for the entire roster. We also have to talk about how this helps Aaliyah Boston. By bringing in a versatile forward like Billings, Boston finally has the spacing and support she needs to dominate the paint. Billings can slide between the power forward and center positions, giving Stephanie White endless lineup flexibility. This takes the physical burden off Boston, allowing her to stay fresh for the fourth quarter. Last season, we saw Aaliyah battling double teams with very little relief, but that ends now. Billings demands respect on the glass and in transition, which means defenders can no longer just sit in the lane and wait for Boston to make a move. Perhaps the most underrated part of this viral move is the personality fit. Monique Billings is widely known as a no-ego player who just wants to win. In a locker room with a massive superstar like Caitlin Clark, you need players who are comfortable in their roles. Billings does not need 20 shots a game to be impactful, she just needs to run the floor and play hard. This mindset is infectious, and exactly what Stephanie White is looking for to build a championship culture. It prevents the internal friction that often destroys super teams before they even start. Indiana is building a brotherhood of ballers who are all pulling in the same direction. While she isn't known as a pure sharpshooter, Billings showed significant improvement from deep last season. She shot 30% from three on nearly 2 attempts per game, which is a massive upgrade over the spacing provided by previous options. In the Stephanie White system, that threat is enough to keep the defense honest. If you leave her open to double-team Caitlin Clark, Billings has proven she can make you pay. It is all about creating gravity on the court. Every extra foot of space Clark gets is a death sentence for the opposing defense, and Billings provides exactly that. The rest of the league, specifically teams like the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx, are watching this with intense scrutiny. Rumors say Alana Smith might be heading to Minnesota, which would have been a huge loss for Indiana if they had not secured Billings first. Stephanie White beat the market by identifying her target early and moving with clinical precision. She did not wait for the big names to fall, she went out and got the exact piece she needed to counter the league's elite. This proactive approach is a total shift in how the Fever operate, and it is sending a message that the hunters have finally become the hunted. There was a moment of genuine fear among the fan base that Indiana might strike out in free agency. People were worried they would not find anyone who could match Clark's energy or White's tactical demands, but the Billings news turned that fear into pure adrenaline. It is scary because it is so logical. It is the kind of move that does not make headlines for the price tag, but it makes headlines for the win column. When you realize that the Fever can now field a lineup where everyone can run and everyone can defend multiple positions, you start to see the championship blueprint emerging from the chaos. Beyond the starting implications, this move solidifies the Fever's bench in a way we haven't seen in years. If Billings starts, it pushes other talented players into reserve roles where they can dominate second units. If she comes off the bench, she is arguably the best sixth woman in the league. Stephanie White is creating a roster where there is no drop-off in intensity when the starters sit. This depth is what wins titles in the WNBA, where the schedule is grueling and injuries are inevitable. Billings is the ultimate insurance policy and the ultimate spark plug, all rolled into one shocking free agency package. Looking back at the Team USA footage, the connection between Clark and Billings was almost psychic. Clark would grab a rebound, turn her head for a split second, and Billings would already be at the opposite free throw line. That level of anticipation cannot be taught. It is a natural basketball instinct. Stephanie White is betting big that this instinct will translate into a record-breaking offense in Indiana. The viral clips of them together are already circulating, and they show a glimpse of a future where the Fever score 100 points a night with ease. It is a track meet, and Indiana just signed an Olympic-level sprinter, but wait, there is more. The air is thick with rumors about Kennedy Burke also joining the fold. If White pulls that off alongside Billings, the Fever will have the most versatile defensive wing rotation in basketball. Burke brings the shooting and perimeter defense that perfectly complements Billings' interior presence. It would be a total overhaul of the roster in less than 48 hours. The league is stunned by the speed at which Indiana is moving. It feels like every hour a new piece of the puzzle falls into place, and every single one of them seems designed specifically to make Caitlin Clark's life easier. We also have to notice the shape that Aaliyah Boston is in. She looks faster and leaner, clearly preparing for the up-tempo system Stephanie White is installing. When you pair a rejuvenated Boston with an elite runner like Billings, the Fever frontcourt becomes the most mobile in the league. They will literally outrun other teams' bigs. Most centers in the WNBA are used to a slower pace, but they are going to find themselves gasping for air by the end of the first quarter in Indianapolis. This is psychological warfare as much as it is tactical, and the Fever are winning on both fronts. The Indiana faithful are currently in a state of euphoria. After years of struggling at the bottom of the standings, they finally have a front office and a coaching staff that gets it. The viral nature of these moves proves that the Fever are now the center of the basketball universe. Every minor update, every spotted meeting at a coffee shop, and every cryptic tweet is being analyzed by millions. The pressure is high, but Stephanie White seems to thrive in the spotlight. She is not just building a team, she is building a culture of excellence that will define the next decade of Indiana basketball. If you look at the stats, Billings shot 82% from 0 to 3 feet. That is an insane number for a player who is often the fastest person on the court. It means that when Caitlin Clark finds her on the break, it is a guaranteed 2 points. This efficiency is what will propel the Fever into the top tier of the league. It reduces the pressure on Clark to hit logo threes every possession. She can now play the role of the ultimate facilitator, knowing that her teammates will actually finish the play she creates. It is the evolution of the Clark effect, and it is beautiful to watch. The fact that these negotiations are happening in the middle of the night and leaking out through trusted sources like Roberta shows how high the stakes are. Stephanie White is clearly working around the clock to ensure this roster is perfect. There is a sense of urgency in Indiana that we haven't seen before. They aren't waiting for the future, they are grabbing it right now. The signing of Mo Billings is the first major domino to fall, but the way White is operating suggests that there are even bigger surprises waiting just around the corner. The viral storm is only just beginning for this new-look Fever squad. As the free agency dust starts to settle, one thing is clear, the Indiana Fever are no longer a project, they are a problem. With a core of Clark, Boston, and now Billings, they have the foundation of a dynasty. Stephanie White has successfully navigated the most critical off-season in franchise history with the poise of a seasoned champion. The move for Billings might have seemed shocking at first, but when you look at the big picture, it is the most brilliant thing they could have done. They did not just sign a player, they signed an identity. They are fast, they are fearless, and they are coming for the crown. This viral free agency move has set the stage for what could be the most exciting season in WNBA history. Stephanie White has given Caitlin Clark the tools she needs to not just play, but to dominate. The signing of Mo Billings is a masterclass in understanding your star players' needs and building a system that highlights them. As the rest of the league scrambles to catch up, the Fever are already sprinting toward the finish line. The question isn't whether they will be good, the question is, how is anyone supposed to stop them? One thing is certain, the basketball world will never be the same after this shocking pivot in Indiana.